Okay, as you get ready to do the rest of the labs for RobotC, you're kind of going to follow the same process every time. I'm not going to take you through each one of these labs, but I want to show you the process. So, like when we're doing 3.1.2, you'll definitely connect your test bed and all of that to the computer, but you're going to start by opening your file 311 from your Z drive. Or your H drive. Hopefully you saved it there. So I'm going to go ahead and open and compile that 3.11 that file, and mine is on my G drive, on my Google Drive, but you guys don't have that. So I'll get that open here. Alright, so now that I have that 3.1 open, then the first thing I'm going to do is save it as this new lab. So I'll go back to RobotC and do File, Save As, and I'll call it 3.1.2. So every time you start a new lab, if you'll go ahead and save it as the different name. So this one will be 312, but you've got a 313, a 314, and a 315 as well. So we've got that saved, and then we're going to learn how to really control our motors. And the first thing that the labs will always do is kind of give you a basic set of instructions like that you just copy and paste. And then it'll ask you to kind of do some things on your own. So the first one is kind of just to learn how to do it, and then after that you'll be actually doing some programming on your own. So on this first one, and it tells you to use the program below in the task main section of the program. So in RobotC, if you scroll down, you'll notice there's a section called task main. All of your programming needs to happen within these two curly braces. So that curly brace opens the program, and then this one closes the program. So our program is going to go between those two curly braces. So on this one, we're going to turn the LED off and on. So we're going to turn it off first, wait a second, turn it on, wait a second, and so on. So I can just copy this one. So I'm going to highlight it and hit Control-C. And then I'll come over here to my task main and hit Control-V, and that'll paste it in there. You can use your right click if you want to. Notice at the end of every line of code is a semicolon, and that's important to that every line of code has a semicolon at the end. So once you've done that, then you will either hit F5 or go to Robot and compile and download the program. And once you do that, there'll be a Start button, and you'll hit Start, and you'll observe what the program does. I don't have my test bed connected, but in the next instructions, it will tell you that as you're observing, so you power on the Cortex, compile and download, hit Start, but then it tells you to document your observations by adding comments at the end of each command line to explain the purpose of the step. So what that means is at the end of each line here, I'm going to tab over, and to add comments you use two slashes, because that'll make it not part of the command. It's called pseudocode. So this command turns the green LED off, and then this line does it for 1 second, and then this turns the green LED on, and also for 1 second. And we can kind of just copy and paste that down. So the next line turns it off, and for 1 second, and then the next line turns it on, and then again for 1 second, and then finally it turns it off. Okay, so once you've put down what the code does, then I want you to take a snapshot of your program and the comments using the snipping tool, and then save it to your Z drive as 312 part 1. So down here is the snipping tool. If you don't have it on your dock, if you'll just go to the programs down here, or actually the search, and just search for snipping tool, it'll come up. So hit snipping tool there. We've used this before in ID. Then you'll come over here to RobotC, have your snipping tool up, and click new. And then I just want you to take a snapshot of this and then save that on your H drive where you've been saving everything else in that testbed folder. So save it as 312 part 1. And again, mine, I don't have an H drive like you guys do. But go ahead and save that, and then that's part of what you're going to submit on Echo. Alright, so then after you've done that, now the next section, this is what I wanted to show you, the next section actually does not write the code for you. You're going to have to figure out how to write it. So like on this part 2, where it says control 1 motor, it says write a program that performs these behaviors. Use the natural language functions where appropriate. So let me show you where to find those at. So we're going to delete this stuff we just did. And then over here, you should have, these are all the commands that we can use, but we're going to use the ones under natural language. So if I click the plus sign beside of natural language, there's all these commands over here. So if I am wanting to turn the right motor on at half speed for 5 seconds, then I need to use movement, and I need to do start motor. So I'm just going to drag that in here. Now the right motor, you have to remember what you called it, and hopefully you called it the same thing that I did, but when you start typing right, it comes up. So I'm going to put right motor. Now remember from the other lab that full speed is 127, so half speed would be 127 divided by 2, and you can actually put that. So I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to do that for 5 seconds, and then I'm supposed to stop the motor. So I would put start motor, and I'm telling it what motor to start. I'm telling it to start the right motor, and then it's the speed. And if you get confused about that, over here it tells you there's the command, and then the first thing you're supposed to put is what the port is, and then a comma, and then what the speed you want the motor to go at. So I'm going to put it at half speed, 127 divided by 2. Then I'm supposed to do that for 5 seconds. So for 5 seconds, that's a wait command right here. So we can drag that wait command in, and I want to tell it how many seconds. So instead of wait time, I'm going to put a 5. Notice that it turned from black, so see how it was in black, and then so that means the black won't really work. It's just telling you what to put there. So I'm going to replace the wait time with 5, and then it turns red. And then it says the next thing I'm supposed to do is stop the motor. So I'm going to come back over here to RobotC, and there's the stop motor command. Stop motor. I want to tell it what motor to stop, and again, that's the right motor. So I'm going to click that, and there's the stop motor command. So that's kind of how all these labs will go, where you they'll give you something to actually do, and then you'll just copy and paste one in, and then you'll have to write your own program. So step 13 says to test it, so that you would do that by compiling and downloading the program. So going to Robot, compile and download. So that's how you test it, and you'll hit start just like you did on the LED. Then you want to document your observations by adding the pseudocode. So again, over here to the right, what happened on that line of code. What should that make the motor do? What happened on this line of code, and then what happened on that line. And then once again, use that snipping tool to take a snapshot, save it as part 2A. And then you'll do that. You'll just keep doing that. Make sure you follow all the way down, and then you'll submit all of those pictures under 312. And you'll keep doing the same process for all these labs, 313, 314. There are a few conclusion questions, so don't forget to do those as well. And if you have any questions, obviously holler at me, and we'll make sure that we get your questions answered and help each other out as well.